So you're working on PiYo, whether you're going to PiYo class or you just got your at-home system and you have core issues or diastasis recti, which is a separation of the rectus abdominis that happens from heavy weightlifting, from pregnancy, from excessive weight gain in the center of the body. Okay, any of those things can separate the rectus abdominis. Check some of my other videos to find out if that affects you. But today I want to talk to you about specific modifications for people who are working through PiYo. If you have the at-home system, the modifier in the at-home system, Michelle, is definitely your guide, first of all. So don't think that you're weak because you're following Michelle. In fact, you're stronger for following her because you're going to develop your muscles in the right way. If you are trying to surpass where your stomach can hold you up, where your tummy muscles can hold you up and together, you're going to widen that injury. So one of the things I always like to tell people is that diastasis recti is an injury. You treat it as an injury. If you had a torn rotator cuff, would you continue doing this? No. If you had a torn ACL, would you be running? No. So if you have a torn rectus abdominis, should you be in full plank? No. So please follow the modifications so that you can start to heal your injury while making yourself stronger. But they don't address the diastasis recti issue specifically in PiYo at home, and a lot of teachers in the PiYo live class are not trained in it. So let me help you with a few modifications. First of all, from standing position, pretty much everything is going to help you, right? Because you're standing with that tucked tailbone, which already pulls all of this in, shoulders back and strong, and ribs in line, which gives you that alignment thing that I'm always talking about. And then the breathing up and under into the lungs, keeping the core muscles in strong, and then exhaling the flat also helps keep all of this together. But just a couple of things. I mean, if you already have some separation here, and you're trying to, for instance, go from Warrior 2 into Warrior 1, watch where the twisting happens. Okay, so the twisting is happening here, which for most people with diastasis, they have some tearing down here. It could actually separate it more. So here's what I want you to do. If you have diastasis, instead of Warrior 1, I want you to use high lunge. Okay, and tuck that tailbone under and keep all of this flat and strong and hold it together. And then you're back to Warrior 2, which is nice and flat. Okay, now the really important stuff happens when you get down to the floor and you've got different pressure points from working on the floor. So let's start from the plank series. If you're down in the plank series, you have to have one knee down on the ground. Okay, so if you're going to a plank pose, you can take it all the way back here if you feel strong enough to be supported and all of this is pulled in and it's not doing this. It has to be nice and flat and pulled in. Or you can even keep your knees right underneath your hips to keep that support. Will you still work your core and upper body? Absolutely. Okay, if you're getting stronger and you want to go all the way to a full plank with your upper body, do this. Keep one knee down and then switch halfway through. You're going to be doing a lot of work in upper body, but keep the core supported. So that applies to all of those movements that we do from the plank position. When you're turning into a side plank, like they talk about a lot at the at-home system, you are going to stay on at least one knee. Okay, so that way you keep all of this supported and up, and you're still working flexibility and strength. Now, the beast is a fantastic movement to strengthen the core. However, if you have diastasis, coming up on the toes might be too much pressure here. So for the beast, for you, what I want you to do is keep the feet flat, keep the knees down, and just push into your feet. Does that ignite your core? Absolutely. You pull all of this up and keep it nice and straight. Okay, and so then when you turn and you do the sit, right? Okay, so now you can still sit here, or you can start to hover and protect yourself with this foot. If you're ready to lift this bottom leg, it's just really important that you support yourself with the top leg. Okay, keep that supported and pulled in. If it doesn't feel supported and pulled in, this knee needs to stay down. Okay, So a lot of twisting motions happen from the floor as well. Downward facing dog, great exercise for you, right? So you've got your head in between the arms and the hips way up and your tummy pulled away from your clothes and your heels going down towards the mat. If you're doing the twisted motion, you need to put at least one knee down and then go about this far. If you are twisting all the way through from your waist, it can start to slide that rectus abdominis against itself, right? So you're about right here. You're not going to twist all the way through and cause some core instability. All right, so let's talk about when you're seated and doing abdominal exercises. The rule is that one foot needs to be on the floor when you're doing these. Okay, so for instance, if you're doing that boat pose, you're going to be doing one leg at a time, not both. Okay, one leg at a time. Well, what about rolling like a ball? Well, rolling like a ball is just going to look like leg lifts to you. We should not be rolling like a ball just yet until you feel like you're stable enough and maybe you have maybe that wide and it's feeling like it's coming together and you feel like you have enough strength to keep it pulled in, because the second that that abdominal wall starts pushing out, you do more damage than good, okay? And then let's go to things that are lying on the floor. And so what are your rules for lying on the floor? Your head stays down and at least one foot stays down. So we've got all kinds of Pilates movements that happen from down here, but you're going to be modifying all of them. And there's so many things that you can do. For instance, laying the feet all the way out, just tucking the tummy in and getting the ribs flat and strong. That is going to really stabilize and help you bring your muscles together. And then what I want you to do is just practice one arm at a time. Like say for instance, it's time to do roll-ups, full roll-ups. You're not going to be doing those right now. That can really open up that injury. But noticing if you're doing one arm at a time and noticing if you're able to stabilize your body on that mat and you're not wobbling side to side, and then do both. And make sure that you're stabilized on the mat and not moving around. There are tons of things that you can do with one leg at a time. Okay, so you can do the single leg circle with your leg parallel to the floor. You can do the single leg bicycle in, up, and down. And you can reverse that motion and go up, in, and down. Okay, that's a lot of core work right there. And so you would modify and change how big your bicycle circle is depending on this staying in and tight. There's also the wide leg circle in each direction. And there's also just going out and in, which is difficult to maintain the shoulders down against the mat, difficult to keep everything locked in and engaged. So it's challenging core exercise without having to do, head up, crisscross. We're not going to be doing that, okay? One leg at a time, leg lifts and circles and exercises. If you go into a bridge situation, you've got one foot down, one foot up, and this is great for your core, pulling that in, and for back spinal articulation, which we work so hard on. The back flexibility is so important for you. So that gives you an option for any kind of bridge work that you're doing or any kind of spinal articulation that you're doing. You can do both feet down or you can do one foot up. So what I want you to do as you're going through your system, whether you're live or at home, is to use all of those ideas and modifications when they get to the point where they're doing something that is not healthy for your injury. So if you're in a live class, you tell your teacher that you have a core injury and that you're going to need to make some modifications. Okay, I hope that helps you get started on your PiYo journey. I really do think it's outstanding and it's healthy for you and healthy for your core, and it's going to make you stronger. But you do have to modify and keep your injury in mind. We're going to get stronger every day, connect that core back together, and next thing you know, you'll be doing the full out PiYo with Shalene or with your teacher. Thanks so much for listening today.